Never stop dating your spouse. Let me ask you this one question. When was the last time you intentionally pursued your spouse? I'm not talking about paying the bills. I'm not talking about picking up the groceries or asking what they want for dinner. When was the last time you made your spouse feel like they were worth pursuing? Before you were married, you planned dates, you looked for opportunities to be together, you listened carefully, and you tried to make a good impression. So what changed?
Somewhere along the way, many couples stopped pursuing the very person that they promised to spend a lifetime with. We think that's one of the biggest mistakes that married couples make. The wedding wasn't the finish line. It was actually the starting line. Today, we want to show you that the best thing you can do for your marriage is to never stop dating your spouse.
Let's dive in. Point number 1, pursuit shouldn't end after I do. Teresa, we know that in Genesis chapter 2, Adam said, "For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother and shall be joined or glued or pursue his wife, and they shall become one flesh." So this joining, this pursuing, Teresa, we believe that it never stops. You never get to a point where you say, "I've arrived. We don't need to do that anymore. I don't need to pursue my wife anymore. I don't need to pursue my husband anymore. We don't need any more connection." That is ludicrous.
You're just signaling a death toll to your marriage that really makes a marriage a lot less than what it should be.
There should always be a continuation of the joy. Teresa said, the wedding day is not the finish. Oh, there's so much effort put into getting married. Oh, if I could just get married, if I could just get married. And there's so much effort and planning and to get ready for that one day, which is an important day, but it's not the most important day of your marriage. That once you get married, it's like, now what? Now the real work begins. The wedding day is the starting line, not this line.
Yes, there's no coasting downhill. Like, you don't have to do anything anymore.
You're not going to be put on motor scooters and just ease on down the lane, are you?
No, not at all. Like you said, the real work begins because you've got to build a life together. You have to get to know your spouse in ways that you couldn't get to know each other before you were married.
Marriage offers you an opportunity to be real, and you need to be able to feel safe with each other. Guys, one of your wife's major needs is honest and open communication. And it just doesn't stop once you say, "I do." She still needs honest and open conversation. Remember how much you talked when you're dating. Remember how much you talked. You talked a lot. And remember how good those days were? There's no reason for those days to stop. Actually, they should not stop. It should be a continuation of those great conversations. Now you can really dive into some really deep subjects, and you can take your time because you don't have to finish a conversation on a single date. These conversations can last for months, and you can really dig deep and really come together on some really significant items, spiritual, intellectual, emotional, physical. You can really create some really strong connection.
Like we said, you make the most of every moment. So when there's an opportunity to discuss something that you may not know about each other that well, then like Jeff said, you can really have deep conversations, prayer times, and really explore some spiritual depths together and have a wonderful time together where you get to know each other in ways you have never known before. And it's supposed to get richer and better over the years.
Point number 2, love requires intentional action. Teresa, there's a law, a physical law. Things will naturally trend to anarchy. Things will naturally trend to disorder. Things don't naturally trend to order. They trend to disorder.
Right, just left to themselves.
Go buy a property that hasn't been taken care of in months, and you can see how overgrown it is and how nasty it looks, or a house that's been abandoned for months, and you just see how it looks rat infested and vines all over it, and there's mold and
Walls.
it's just terrible. Same thing with a relationship. If we're not intentionally acting, our relationship goes more to disorder, not to order.
And like you said, it goes towards neglect. If it's not being cared for, if it's not being attended to, if you and your spouse are not attending to each other, your relationship is going towards the course of neglect instead of loving and being intentional and making the most of your time together and making the most of opportunities that you have. That's so true, Jeff, and we don't want to neglect our marriages.
Have you ever seen an episode of Hoarders or another kind of episode where they haven't washed a dish in weeks or months, and it's just a nasty situation where there's
trash
just filth
everywhere
and trash everywhere, and it's infested, and it's just nasty. It's a mental disorder. It's not normal thinking. That's physical, but you can't do the same thing with your marriage. You can't emotionally let your marriage become neglected. You have to see to each other's needs. Have to see to each other and take care of each other.
That's so good.
And keep connecting. It has to be intentional. And it's not always the Ruth Chris Steakhouse, big giant steak dinners or seafood. It's not always the trips to Paris. No, it's the small intentional things. The thousands and thousands of small intentional things really build a marriage. Writing those notes is making the coffee, is fixing a meal, is cleaning, to picking up, is doing all those thousands and thousands of things for each other.
That's right.
That really builds that connection.
That's so good. Yeah, it just makes me think daily. These little things, if they're done daily, it's not too much to do. The Lord created your covenant marriage, and it's not hard if you rely on Him to help you attend to one another and be attentive to each other each and every day. If you let a day or two go by without reaching out to each other, without asking each other how you're doing, or doing little things to show that you care, like Jeff, all those things that Jeff mentioned, then it will start feeling like there's neglect going on. Each person will feel like something's wrong. We're just not loving toward each other. It takes intentionality.
If you would like a free resource, go to our website /resources, and there you will see the full list of resources that we have available to you. Click on one of those and get one of those for you today. Point number 3, Teresa, familiarity should deepen appreciation, not breed neglect. Ephesians 5:25, Paul told the husbands, love your wife as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. So that is a commandment for husbands to love their wife sacrificially. Loving your wife it's not a contract. If I do this for you, you'll do what's in for me. No, it's a sacrificial love.
Exactly.
It's a God kind of love. But you become familiar with someone and you get to know. Teresa and I have been married for almost 35 years now, and we know a lot about each other. We know about how the foods we like, the foods we don't like, our sleeping patterns. We just know our voice cadence. We just know how to think. We know a lot about each other, but that shouldn't fuel neglect. That really should fuel appreciation. Never stop being curious about your spouse. Teresa and I, we're not the same people we were 35 years ago. So there's always an opportunity to learn more about each other and to deepen that relationship.
When I think about where we were when we got married, and we were each strong believers, we both loved the Lord, we both cared deeply for one another and knew that God brought us together to be married. But when I think how we've grown mentally, emotionally, spiritually, we've grown so many ways since then. And we've gotten to share that journey, but there's still more to come. We're not done growing. We're not done changing. And God is making sure that we're growing in Him. We're deepening our faith in Him. And we're also deepening our relationship with each other. So we never stop. I think it's a beautiful adventure, really.
Point number 4, small daily acts communicate lasting love. Jesus was speaking to the church of in Revelation chapter 2, and he said, return to your first love. Now, it doesn't mean that I have to go by Teresa's parents' house and pick her up for a date, but it needs to be that you did at the beginning that really contributed to the love that you two have for each other and to the friendship that you have. Go back and do those type of things. Plan those dates. Guys, you would spend a lot of time planning the date. Ladies, you would spend a lot of time figuring out what dress you're going to wear. Would he like this? Would he like that? How should I have my hair? How would he like my hair? And you would think about that. And he would think, I should wear this shirt versus that shirt. And which pants should I wear? Should I take her here? Should I take her there? There was a lot of planning and there's a lot of anticipation.
That's
Go
right.
back and do the same things where you're planning things together and planning intentional time together and have those small intentional acts of kindness every day. The notes, the making a meal, the words of life, speaking words of life to each other, having 5 minutes of intentional conversation every single day, having a little bit of prayer time every single day. Just go back to your first love and do those things to build up your marriage and really make those connections strong. Here's our challenge for you this week. Do one intentional thing for your spouse that you used to do while you were dating. And we're so excited about a brand new book. You're not losing love, you're losing time, which should be out soon. It's all about redeeming time in marriage. It goes over all these principles that we've been talking about in these videos, and we're so excited to have that available soon. Next video, we're going to talk about how to keep falling in love with your spouse, and we'll see you over there. And remember, God designed husband and wife to be friends for life.